My name is Jennifer Shepard, and I'm an assistant professor of practice here at UNL. Prior to this job, I worked in corporate media relations and public relations for Monster Energy Supercross, which is the world's largest off-road motorcycle racing championship in the world. Still got it. So I just basically traveled around the country and promoted the sport that I grew up loving and falling in love with dirt bike racing. So I finally got a chance to work on the other side. So every event we would try to capitalize on either like a local influencer that was important to that area. So if we went to Arizona, for instance, we would try to engage with like the Arizona Cardinals guys or, some of the local talent in the area. And then in California, we would try to engage with like celebrities. So we had Meg Ryan come out to an event one time, and we hosted her and we worked with her just to give her a really good experience. And then some of the events back east, we would engage with like Selfie Kid, which I know you're probably too young to know who Selfie Kid is, but he was famous for a while. I don't know what he's been up to lately, but we brought Selfie Kid out because we want to really get in front of his audience to grow awareness of our brand. So that's like a technique that is kind of bubbling up through a lot of the major sports, is like, how can we identify an influencer that has a bigger or different audience than we do, and then get in front of them. At the end of the day, like, I think the influencers were cool and all, and they have a huge audience, but they only posted like 1 or 2 or 3 times, if that. And so they would do stories, but we know stories go away, so they wouldn't really post on their account. So I feel like a local, small, grassroots, startup, they could post stories and post actual posts that like lived on their feed. And they could do it more often, like they wouldn't be limited to like 1 or 2. So I think the frequency could be more intense. And I think that could be more valuable at the end of the day, is like more repetition, more frequency than just 1 or 2 from a famous person. I mean, it's just the same thing as trying to get in front of their audience. So if people are Googling Justin Bieber and we brought Justin Bieber to one of our events, then that will come up higher than if we just post about our event or whatever. So, trying to use their namesake to help get in front of bigger, broader audiences, I think that can work for SEO. Well, I mean, most famous people like to be waited on, so like they would make you kind of, or they wouldn't make you, but they would ask you like if you could go get them water when like a water is literally 20 feet away in the cooler. But like they're just expected to have like servants, so you kind of become less of a PR person and more of like a personal assistant. So that would annoy me, because like I just am proud of my profession. So that was a little annoying, but I mean, sometimes they would cancel. That was pretty annoying. But like one time we announced we were gonna have this famous influencer come out to an event, and we announced it on Twitter, and then within 30 minutes to an hour, the fans had trolled him so much that the agent pulled out and was like, I'm not having my talent be, to succumb to your fans. Because I mean, motorsports fans are naturally tough and kind of critical and kind of assholes sometimes. So they didn't like the fans. They were trolling him. They were bullying him. It was really bad, and it ended up not working out. And we were crushed because we wanted to give that person a good experience, but the fans had other plans. I mean, you just got to put on a smile, and you got to be patient, and it's kind of like the manners that your grandma would want you to have, like at family dinner. Like you just really have to kind of mind your P's and Q's, and really make sure that you slept really good the day before if possible, and that you had a meal, because like you can't bring anything into your work if you're dealing with someone of high stature. Like you just want to make sure that you're on your A game, and you're not cranky or moody or tired or whatever. Like you just kind of have to always be that like the expected professional for your company, you know? I mean, there's so many challenges. Every day is a challenge. I think the thing that I didn't really understand is that as a PR person for a major corporation, like you are everything. Like everything starts and stops with PR. Like there's no media, there's no racers, there's no athletes, there's no sports, there's no construction team. Like everybody comes back to PR because we're the people that promote the event. So if anything goes wrong, it's like we're the first go to. That means we have to be there at 4 a.m. and we don't get to leave until 2 a.m. Like literally, we would pull like 20-hour days, and we had to be on our A game the whole time. So like that was a challenge personally, and just kind of dealing with all the different departments. So this big corporation that I worked for, I was a PR department, but you have probably 5 to 6 other departments that you have to work with constantly. And if you know anything about corporate, it's just a lot of people to deal with.
Yeah.
All the qualities. I think open-mindedness. I think having a strong work ethic, discipline, bringing ideas to the table. I think a lot of young people like may hesitate to like share their ideas with older professional director leader types, but like that's what we need in this business is young ideas, fresh ideas. So just kind of having like courage to speak up when nobody young is speaking up, that kind of thing. I try to teach my students. Try to always tell one thing in every meeting, even if you think it's stupid or crazy. Like try to always speak up once. That way you can kind of like get in the habit of speaking up in front of people that are older than you. So yeah, discipline, drive, desire. There's a lot of things. So content is king. So just constant content. Like I'm a big fan of just consistency, and you know, for brands that only post like once a week, like they're losing out because people are constantly checking to see like what's new, especially if they idolize your brand. So I think more consistent content. I think brands need to be better storytellers of the people they represent. And I think that we're just scratching the surface of that, like PR storytelling kind of thing. So, content is king. Making money.
Here we go.
Sell tickets. So if we could sell tickets, we were making money. We were happy. So if you can see either your online audience is growing or your in-venue audience is growing, or just you get more phone calls and emails, that's success. Money moves the needle. So yeah, if you can help the boss make money, then you're going to be valuable. I think selfishly it was traveling and getting to see kind of the country that like I had never been to California or LA or seen the Pacific Ocean and stuff like that. So that was like my personal benefit. But I think too, like at the end of every event, like if you weren't there, like the event wouldn't have gone off the way it did. So like knowing that like I helped do this, I helped dress Gronk for God's sakes. Like we had Gronk at one of our events and he needed help getting dressed. So I had to dress like a grown man. And I know that if I wasn't there, like no one would be able to dress him. So like just kind of knowing that like I was part of this huge thing, like that was cool. It was just like fulfilling in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Working like 4 a.m. to 2 a.m.
Yeah,
and
that
not
makes sense.
eating and walking 7 miles. And I mean, first in, last out for real. I had to literally climb out of Patriot Stadium. I don't know what it's called, Gillette Stadium in Boston. I had to like break out of the stadium because we were so late going home that security had left. So like I was following my manager with our laptops in our backpack. We had to like scale a fence. Like, man, if you could see me now, Mom, like I was like that. It wasn't the worst, but it was just like wow, we really worked our asses off. Just don't give up. Don't ever give up on your dream, and like dream big, because a lot of students don't have a dream. And I think that's the longest I've been without cussing too. So Just dream big.